conference feeds to Reno and Elko. On Saturday, January 30th, we closed agenda item number 20 and will open agenda item 21, Commission Regulation 1603, 2017 Heritage Tag Seasons and Quotas. Management Analyst 3, Maureen Hollinger, for possible action. The Commission will consider the adoption of 2017 Heritage Tag Hunt Species Seasons and Quotas. Ms. Hollinger.
Thank you, Chairman Drew and Commission. Maureen Hollinger for the record, Nevada Department of Wildlife. I'm here to present CR 1603, the 2017 heritage tags. This regulation is to establish those heritage auction tags for 2017 pursuant to Commission Policy P10. The department must mail the vendor proposal packets out by March 1st, and the Heritage Committee will then review those proposals during their May committee meeting and provide the recommendations back to the Commission for the June Commission meeting. The species, season, and quota recommendations in the regulation are the same as what was approved in 2016 heritage tags. The California bighorn sheep season is continuing. The department is continuing to recommend the closure of Unit 041, and then this recommendation is due to the limited number of mature rams in that fairly new unit, so to leave those open to the sportsmen versus these statewide tags. And then the special regulations on page 2 there's no changes there either.
Questions for Maureen? I guess the only question I had is, this is 17 seasons, so as we mentioned with Hunt Unit 195 on the Nelson Bighorn, this would be our opportunity to add under unit group any management unit where there's a season for desert bighorn sheep, except for units where the previous year harvest for heritage tag hunts occurred, and Unit 195. That way we'd be able to assure that only one hunt was in there. Does that make sense? Nods from the department. Okay, questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, County Advisory Board input on item 21. Mr. Shea.
Sean Shea, Washoe County. That was one of our things too, was 195, but since they pulled that, our other consideration is looking at that wild turkey tag, because I notice when SCI has their dinner, it's like that heritage tag starts like 2 days later. And so we're thinking is maybe for the turkey tags, you sell it for the next year. So they'd have it, like basically they'd know in a year in advance that they bought this tag instead of being jammed up from right at the beginning, if that makes any sense.
For the record, Paul Dixon, Clark Cab. The cab accepted all of the tag recommendations, but we had a recommendation that came in from the public at my meeting that this board consider changing the heritage tag to a year-round season, and that being consistent with some of the other states, and some of the other states that have year-round seasons have had much greater tag sales amounts. In fact, I believe that in Arizona they just sold the ram tag for $305,000. That may be because there's a big ram there, but we have big rams here too. But nonetheless, $305,000, where our tags are generally selling for $100 to $120, we think we're doing good. Something for this board to consider is going to year-round. And if we do that, even though I made a mistake, the original one I did correct, that will have implications if you decide to have that discussion for the Silver State tag also, because they're both in reg. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Additional County Advisory Board input. Public comment in Las Vegas. I see a couple come on down and occupy the mics.
Mike Cassidy for the Northern Nevada SCI chapter. I would just like to reiterate what Sean said. This year we didn't even put in for the turkey tag because our banquet is April 22nd. So the season would already have been started when the tag would have been auctioned, so it's not fair. I think it's better. I think you get more NGOs participating in the heritage tag auction as vendors of the turkey heritage tag. If we moved it, the tag is auctioned in 1 year and it's valid for the following year. And that might mean you have to skip a year or double up and give 2 heritage tags. Like this year, you could have one for 17 and one for 18, but whatever you do, I think it needs to have a resolution to that problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment in Las Vegas? Okay, public comment in Reno on item 21, Regulation 1603, Heritage Tag Seasons and Quotas.
No public comment in Reno.
Okay, and Elko, and please let me know if you've picked up any public.
I have no public and no comment, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Bring it back to the commission. Before we open it up to discussion, Maureen, the concept of selling the turkey tag for the following year, I don't know that we could go about that today, but is there even a way to go about it in the future?
That's a tough question. We could certainly look at providing in the future recommendations for 2 years out for turkey. We do when the proposals come in, that's one of the things that the Heritage Committee does consider as to when those events are occurring, and they try to distribute those turkey tags to those vendors that have their events prior to the turkey season opening. But there's always that possibility that those event dates can change. That happened with the National Turkey Foundation this last year. Their event was actually originally scheduled in the fall, and they had to move it to March because they lost their venue. But it was still before the opening day of the season. So I don't know what the simplest solution would be, but we could certainly consider it through the Heritage Committee maybe.
Commissioner Wallace, you chair the Heritage Committee. Any thoughts on that? The only way I could see doing it is basically approving tags for 18 and kind of trying to stagger ahead, but I don't think we can do that today per the way the agenda is presented.
No, I don't think we can either, and I have to apologize because he brought that up last year at our meeting and it's completely got off the screen, so I don't know the best way of going about it, but maybe we need to discuss it a little further at our first Heritage meeting.
Yeah, if you guys got a fix, I'd like to hear it because I don't think we can do it today. And like I said, I've got an idea on how to do it, but if we could address that at the next meeting and maybe get a recommendation back, that would be great. Other questions or comments, Commissioner Valentine?
Thank you, Chairman Drew. I don't know if this will solve the issue regarding turkey tags, but if we made all the heritage tags year-round tags, beginning August 1st through July 31st, I wonder if there'd be acceptance to doing something like that.
Yeah, turkey would be a little bit unique in that you only have spring seasons if you made it year-round. I mean, you certainly could, and that might alleviate that to some degree. But I think you'd still have to have a start and an end date on it, so. Other discussion? Commissioner Bliss?
Thank you, Chairman Drew. I think there is some merit to the year-round season for these tags. I would be a little bit hesitant to go forward with them at this particular meeting, although I think I could support a year-round season. But I think it would be better to maybe come up with some season dates, whether it would followed our license year, or if it was a date similar to what Commissioner Valentine said, or similar to Arizona, the August 15th, August 14th. But maybe in the future, it might have to be next year at this meeting, having some options for the cabs and the public to look at and let them discuss it amongst themselves and have the pros and cons to each of it, to each one of those seasons. In my opinion, looking forward at it, biologically, it will have zero impact. You're still harvesting one animal. The marketing side of it would be a benefit. So I think there is some merit and some discussion that could take place. I'm just a little bit hesitant about going forward with it right now without getting all the cabs and the public their input on that concept.
So your thought would be maybe an alternate recommendation when it went out to cabs next year or something like that? If you were to do a year-round season, some alternate recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some alternate recommendations to go out from the department to the cabs to chew on and discuss at their meetings. And then maybe have, there's usually some department staff or the commissioner or someone at those meetings that could explain, the process and the reasons why and behind each one of the dates, the pros and cons to each one of them. Or we may even be able to put that in a side note in the information that goes out to the public.
Additional comments? Commissioner Wallace?
I was just looking at this, Mr. Chairman. Is there any way, well, actually, I'm sorry, this is the next agenda item. So I'll save it for that one.
Okay, additional questions on this agenda item for discussion? All right, if not, I would entertain a motion. Everyone's lunch lag.
Jeremy, I would like to motion that we pass the CR 16-03 2017 heritage tag as proposed.
Second.
Okay. And then my question would be, in fact, maybe to do this cleanly, I'll offer an amendment, but before I do, is there a question or comment on the main amendment or the main motion? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to offer an amendment, and that amendment would be to add and Unit 195 to those unit groups closed for Nelson Bighorn sheep, so that in the case that we get access to the private property, we could ensure only one tag holder in that unit come 2017.
Yeah, the second's, I'm okay with the amendment.
Would the motion maker view that as a friendly amendment and include it in the main motion rather than as a?
Sure, that's fine. I would go ahead and move then to pass CR 16-03 for 2017 heritage tags, as is, with the inclusion of adding Unit 195 as suggested.
Okay. Is everyone clear on that? Second's acceptable?
Second is acceptable.
Okay. So still same motion with the exclusion of 195 for Desert Bighorn on CR 1603. Is there any question or discussion on the motion? Department staff's clear on that, on the motion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 9-0. We'll close agenda item 21.